In this video, I'm gonna expose myself. The worst one, honestly. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is crazy. Oh my god. Hi. My name is Deborah. I love to knit, crochet, sew, and all things fiber arts and crafting, honestly. I'm coming to you from the gray and cold and a little bit snowy country of Belgium. Yesterday, it snowed. Today, I have a very exciting video for you guys. I know I did a video called Everything I Made in 2024, but I kind of lied. It was all a lie. But kind of didn't, because that was everything I finished. I made a lot of mistakes, a lot of WIPs were hidden. And in this video, I'm gonna expose myself and show you all the things I started and did not finish and figure out if they're gonna stay WIPs or if I'm gonna frog them. And I will tell you which pattern or tutorial I used, which yarn I used, when I think I made it. We'll try and see if I remember, and keep them as a WIP or frog them, and what I learned from making that project. So if you're excited for this, watch along, enjoy, drink, finish a WIP, or scroll on your phone. I don't know how you like to consume your content, but have fun. Okay, so the first unfinished project, I wouldn't even say unfinished, it's just a project I started, is this granny square blanket. So I don't know if you guys, if you're on the fiber art side of the internet, you recognize this pattern and you kind of see what blanket I was trying to start to make. I started this project. I might have started this project at the tail end of 2023, beginning of 2024. I was very excited. The pattern or tutorial I followed for this was a video tutorial by Elyse. She's like an influencer, but she does more story times on her different social media channels. I randomly saw her pop up on my feed because I don't follow her, and she was talking about crochet and she wanted to make a sweater. And I happened to have seen the blanket around because it was going viral, I think. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I don't know what stitch this is. I don't know how to search. I don't know. Maybe I was like, I'm not going to search up how to do this blanket. I'm not crazy enough to do this blanket. Because I did, like, one of my first crochet project was this beautiful blanket right here. I did that in 2023. That was just like a granny square stitch that you kept increasing to make it bigger and bigger. But when I saw the blanket, I was like, oh, it looks so cool. But I'm going to keep it in the back of my mind. And then I saw her video, a video tutorial about how to make this pattern. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make it. And I was very excited. I bought a bunch of yarn. I was first off just trying to finish the yarn I had in my stash. And then I was like, oh, this is really cool. I want to make a whole blanket. So as you see, I made a lot of granny squares. But to make a blanket, you need so much yarn. Time, like it took me, when I was on full speed, an hour to finish one. And no, I just couldn't, I couldn't get it done. I used Zeeman Royal Yarn, which is 100% acrylic, but this was like kind of in the beginning of my journey. So I wasn't really thinking about what yarn to use, why. Yeah. And also using acrylic for yarn that isn't going to touch my skin isn't that big of a deal. There are projects where I used acrylic to make clothes obviously to make clothes. And I don't like the feeling of it. It doesn't work for me. So I am definitely keeping this as a WIP. I'm still planning on finishing it. The deadline is non-existent. I'm going to keep on working on this for years. and eventually I'll finish it, but just, yeah, this is not going anywhere. It's also so pretty. It's like a little 3D. I learned how to, yeah, create like dimension in your crochet projects. And it's so cool. It's cool that the petals are kind of like a little removed from the background. I don't know, it makes it feel very fun. So I learned a bunch of new crochet techniques. I couldn't do this out of my head because you have to kind of crochet in the front and the back of this piece. So it's still like, it's a little technical, but once you get into the groove, you're like, you change color, you get into the new one. I also have to weave in ends. That's all an issue for future me. But I like this project. It's a WIP. I'm keeping it with me, definitely. Okay, the next project. This is a fairly recent WIP. The pattern I used is actually a YouTuber named Avery P here on YouTube. She is also on Instagram and TikTok and everything, but I got to know her on YouTube at first. And she made a sweater that had this kind of striped pattern. And I saw it and I was like, oh, this is really pretty. I also want to make a sweater that looks like that. So I just started. And my issue with this sweater is that the drape is way too loose. It's so, yeah, I don't know, it's holey, it's very loose, and it's annoying me so much. And in the beginning, I just started on this sweater and I was like, oh, it'll be fine. Like, I remember using the same needles for this yarn before, because this is of course Julia yarn from the Zeeman, my favorite. I love Julia yarn. I just forgot that I used another needle size to knit this up. And what did I not do? A gauge swatch. Of course I didn't. So that's why this looks insane to me personally. And yeah, it's too loose. I did a folded collar. The collar is also stretchy on here. So this was the first time I did like I did my folded collar in the right way so that I didn't feel like my neck was like squished through the hole or something. So that's what I like learned doing this. And I also learned how to decrease for the arm. The first sweater I made, it's a balloon sweater. And it's because I didn't know that you could decrease for the arm if you're making an arm in the round. So this led me to making this sweater and making a beautiful decrease here. So a lot of things learned making this sweater. Yeah. And I still like the stripes. I kind of still want to make them. Yeah, not this one. So this one is definitely getting frog. It's really pretty. I like the stripes, but yeah, this one, no, I'm not finishing this one. It's out of here. Next, we're going back to the summer where I had a little bikini making addiction. That sounds insane. I followed a YouTube tutorial to make this bikini. I will link it below. I don't remember who it was by, but this is a star formed bikini. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It was cool to make at the time because I was kind of in a knitting rut and I was confused why I didn't want to knit. But in the summer, my body just was like, no, it's too hot to hold these fabrics. No. But when I was crocheting, I was like, yeah, I'm in the mood. I finished this in like 5 hours or something, both of them. And that was really nice. I enjoyed the process, but then when I put them on, that was more like on me. The yarn choice was not good. This is super soft same yarn, and it's super stretchy. And it's when you make a bikini, you want your yarn to be sturdy. I preferably use a cotton yarn because it feels like it's secure. When you put your bikini on, you feel secure. If it's a cotton yarn, this just feels super stretchy. When you knot these strands together, it just feels like one wrong move and it's like out of there. So that wasn't great. I held two super soft yarns together, two different greens, and that creates this pretty color. So I like the color. It's just the yarn type I used was wrong. If I ever make this again, I don't know for sure because there are a bunch of holes in there and I like don't want to flash anyone. I'll probably use Zeeman Reco yarn. That's 100% cotton yarn that's very sturdy. That's what I used to make my other bikinis. That's, yeah, a safer bet. So this is a finished object, but I'm gonna frog it because I'm not wearing this. But it's cool, so I might make it again. I don't know. I have to think about it. Then next, another sacrificed yarn. I mean, another sacrifice in my bikini obsession. This little pocket bikini. I really wanted to make a checkered one, a checkered bikini. And these colors are really cool. Like every time I watch this, I'm like, oh, this is so cool. But I didn't really use a pattern. I got inspired by a pattern I used to make these other bikinis, but I kind of free-handed how I would make these little squares, I guess, to make the checkered pattern, and also how I carried yarn with it every time so I didn't have to weave in a bunch of ends. So that was a fun technique, but it doesn't look like a bikini top. I don't know how I increased the top. It's not giving bikini cup, it's giving cup straight up. Like it's just a cup. So it doesn't make sense. And then I started to realize that this isn't gonna work and I just gave up because I already had two bikinis at that point. So I'm definitely frogging this, but I do want to make like a little bag out of this or something. I don't know. It's so cute together. These colors are really pretty. So I might, like the stitch is fun and I might want to use this stitch to make something else. But this is definitely a frog. And I learned how to carry yarn while doing color work as you crochet, so that's fun. Next, we have an embarrassing project. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it doesn't look good. I think I made this around the beginning of 2024. This is a project that I started at the end of 2023 and tried to finish in 2024. It's scary. Like, don't, it's a jump scare. What the hell is this? This is so scary. It looks so crazy. I freehanded this because I wanted to make mittens, but it just looks crazy. The bottom rimming isn't even straight, which it's so hard to keep a straight line when you're crocheting. Crocheting and around for me, bah, it's fine. I can do it with no problem. But a straight line, it's so difficult. I don't know why it's so difficult, but that's why it's like going like this a little bit. And then I try to increase, to decrease, to get the whole, like, it's very scary. You don't really see it when you wear it, but there are a bunch of holes in here. Yeah, and I made this one, and I think I started on the second one. I can't even find it. Oh, I started on the second one, and then I was like, you know what? No, I don't want to do this. So I stopped. And I used no pattern. This was freehanded clearly because it looks insane. I used, I think, 100% merino Ariana wool from the Veritas, held double with mohair because I think I just finished my vest. I'm not sure, but maybe the timeline is a bit weird. And I held that double and I was like, oh, it's so pretty. Let me hold this double also. And no, I need to frog it. This needs to get frogged as quickly as possible as it looks crazy. And I'm gonna have to save the mohair from the merino, which means I'm gonna have to unravel it separately. This might sound crazy, but I know I'm gonna want to use the mohair for another project, so I'm gonna save it. I don't want to throw it away. That's expensive. I don't want to do that. So the unraveling is gonna be fun. So yeah, I also have a bunch of wool here that I don't like when I just like drop wool. Like this is not nice for me, but it's an issue for future me. So yeah. Then next project is One that I kind of need you guys' advice on because I'm not ready to give it up, but a part of me is telling me I should give it up because there's no point in me holding on to it. This project I made while I was sick. Once I thrifted this yarn. The yarn is from the Veritas, and there's definitely some alpaca or mohair in here. There's definitely merino and some acrylic in here. Like it was a mix of things, but I just love these colors so much. Clearly, like I want to say I miscalculated. I didn't even calculate anything. I just started and then started to realize like, wow, this is using a lot of yarn and I only have a limited amount of it. And this is where we ended. I couldn't even finish the back, so I chose to keep it open to find like a solution for the amount of yarn I ended up not having. And the only yarn I have left, I think, is this. Now, I've kept it in my WIPs because there is a part of me that thinks that there's a solution and that I'm going to be able to finish this top so I can still wear it. The open back is a choice. Like, it's fine that it's an open back. And I honestly think that I can leave my arms like this. But I need to find a solution for my V-neck and just to finish the back and the neck in a good way. So if any of you sees this and thinks, okay, maybe you could do this type of edging so that doesn't use a lot of yarn and it looks finished, it would be nice because I think maybe I can still save this project. You know, it just looks so cute and I just can't get over the fact that I might have to unravel this. I know I should, but on this project, I cannot. It's just so cool and yeah. So if someone has an idea, please help a girl out. So this, I'm going to put this as a WIP I'm keeping for now because I'm hoping someone is going to give me a lifeline. The next project I made, this was like a little bit of an in-between project just because I really wanted to learn stranded color work and I had a plan for it and then I was like, whoa, no, let me not. Let's not and let's just give it up. It's fine. It's not that deep. I wasn't holding on to it or anything. It's this self-drafted tube basically, and I just wanted to learn how I wanted to hold my yarn when I was making Colorwork project because I already had like I was planning for the future and I knew in 2025 I'm gonna do a lot of color work, so I need to teach myself how to do it already so I don't feel like, oh my god, I never did how to strands together, I don't know how it's gonna go. Yes, you did, and you did a good job. So I didn't use a pattern. I used yarn I already had in my stash. So the purple yarn is royal yarn from Zeeman and the white yarn is tweed yarn from Zeeman. So yeah, I had a plan to make something out of it, but then I tried it on and I kind of cast it off too early and I was just like, you know what? It's not that deep. I just wanted to learn how to do this technique. I'm gonna unravel it anyway. So, you know what that means. I'm gonna unravel it. But it was fun to work on. It was cool to have these two colors together. And now, because I did this, I feel super confident to start another project I'm gonna make. But I'll keep you guys updated on that one. I'm very, very excited. Okay, so the next two projects kind of go hand in hand together because they're two colors. And this already made a cameo in my first video. It's this shrug. I had to already partially kind of unravel it because I needed to use the red yarn to make this sweater. That feels a little criminal, but also I wasn't wearing this a lot. This sweater, I've already worn it. Like I've had this almost, I don't know, 8 months, 8 to 9 months longer than I've had this. And I've worn this already so much. I don't even know how many times I've worn this sweater already, but sometimes you need to make decisions. And I don't remember this yarn. First of all, I didn't use a pattern. I just freehanded it. I was at the hospital and I was bored, as you can be at the hospital. So I just started making a rectangle, and then I left an opening at the top, continued, folded it over, added arms. Like, this is the easiest construction. And I used like triple crochet and quadruple crochet to make this, which is the triple crochet and quadruple crochet is like cheating to get things done extremely fast. Like, I finished this in a day. But it was like, I'm not gonna say this was ugly. Like, I liked it, but it's just not really my style, so I was never wearing it. But yeah, I liked it. I liked making it. It was a very interesting time in my life and a good way to get distracted. Also, it was close to Valentine's Day, so I kind of wanted to make like these lovey-dovey colors. I really just pink and red. It's an elite combo. So definitely frogging, because this is just, yeah. The red was like this mysterious red yarn from the Veritas. That's an acrylic cotton merino combo, I think. That's what I remember. And the pink is, of course, my favorite Seaman Julia yarn. I love Seaman Julia yarn. Next, using the same yarns, this is a pattern. I will obviously post the video in the description that I followed from, I have a Centro reveal. I have a Centro, and there's another pattern I used to follow to make balaclavas, but then I found a new one, and this one had like an interesting way to make the hole for your face. So that's why I decided to follow that pattern to make this cool pink balaclava. The top is a little high, so I might save this project so I can decrease to the top instead of just stopping and then like making this weird closing at the top, so it has a better shape, and then pick up stitches at the bottom to give it a better ribbing also. So I might save this project. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe. I also added duplicate stitched hearts because I really wanted to make another project for Valentine's Day, but then, yeah, it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to turn out, so I gave up a little bit. But I kind of want to remove the hearts and try and fix the top and the bottom, because that is a really quick way to make really cute shaped balaclavas. So this might get a little second chance and will not be frogged. It's a WIP. Plot twist. Yeah, I just learned a new technique, how to use a Sentro. I really feel like I can still crank the knowledge I have from a Sentro machine. Like, I can only like knit around and then knit a panel, and a panel works barely. Like, it's not amazing. So I should try that. Maybe. We'll see. No pressure. The next project is really cool, and I will frog in the future, but for now, I'm keeping it as a reminder that I have to remake this. But this is kind of like a crocheted wave pattern that I think is really, really cool. And I decided to crochet it like this horizontally, and I wanted to make a little vest. So this is a front panel, and then you wear it like this, and I'm supposed to make another one here, obviously one for the back, short sleeves, and then have a little summer top. But again, this, I used the Zeeman Super Soft yarn, and I used the different greens. The fabric is just too flimsy. It's too like stretchy. Again, I need to use cotton to make this. I was even thinking about a linen cotton. I would like the drape and it wouldn't feel this stretchy. But the pattern is so cool. Like, the fact that it's like small and then it gets a little bigger, and it's fun to crochet. It's really fun to make. So I'm gonna try this pattern again, but in the right yarn, and see if that gets me more inspired. I was working really hard to keep this line straight, seriously, and then like decrease here to make the flip. Like I was like very focused when I was making this, but then until I wasn't, I guess. And then I gave up because the yarn just isn't what I wanted it to give. But I need to keep it because I really want to try it again with the right yarn. So it's a WIP. It's going to be a frog in the future, but I want to remake this with the right yarn and the right tools. The pattern I used is from a book. It's not even like I used the stitch, this specific stitch. I don't know what the stitch is called. If I find the right name for it, I'll put it on screen somewhere. But it's just, look, it's so cool. Like, it's a fun, the fabric it creates is really, really cool. So I'm keeping it. Next, we have the top of a sweater that I'm frogging because I kind of made this as a test because I wanted to learn how to do an English shoulder. An English shoulder is a construction where you work top down. You start with the back of the yoke. Once you're down significantly, you pick up on the side of the shoulder seams. You pick up on the right side, you pick up on the left side, you knit to a certain level, then you hold your stitches, you knit to another level, and then you connect, you kind of increase steadily, and then you connect the front of your neckline to knit together to a certain level, and then you reconnect at the arms to like finish the rest of your yoke. And that thought that was very interesting. I really wanted to learn a new sweater construction just because I've been making sweaters bottom up a lot, and if I'm making them top down it was raglan. So I just wanted to learn a new construction, and I did that, and then I put it on. I was like, oh, I don't like how this sweater feels, what it looks like. It's just not, I mean, it looks fine, but it just wasn't my style. And the problem is also the color, because it kind of looks like my skin a little bit, like I just don't. I like brown, but this is a little too light. So I also tried to give it to my sister, and my sister was like, nah, bro. I don't want it. So I'm gonna have to frog it and use the rest for something else. But I learned a new construction, a new type of construction, so that was fine. What yarn did I use? Of course, I used Zim on Julia yarn. Of course I did. So yeah, this is definitely getting frogged. I'm not. Nobody wants to wear it, so it's getting frogged. Next project. I'm never frogging that. It looks like nothing. It looks like a rag. But this is my actually first knitted project WIP that I never finished. My mom taught me how to do a garter stitch to make a scarf. I made so many mistakes. I like dropped stitches and everything. I would say the last rows they look really good. I've restarted this so many times in my life, I can't even tell you. Like the bottom is probably 20 years old. This is so crazy, but I'm keeping this. It's so fun to see where you started. Some projects are just like, look, I made this and I failed, and it's okay because I tried. And it's also really fun to know that the seed kind of was planted years and years and years ago, and I came back to the hobby multiple times during my life. And the fact that I can now make full garments and accessories and home decorations is crazy. So yeah, this is so a random tangent, but I'm so pro hobbies. And even if you don't go to the like highest level of what it can bring you, you never know, in the future maybe you'll do something with it. It's just so fun. Have hobbies, guys, and try hard and fail. That's fine. You'll always take something from it, even if it's not in the specific hobby where you grow. You can maybe take it to something else you do in your life. And yeah, this It's so cute. It's so cute. Okay. I wanted to pattern my mom yarn. I have no clue when I made this 20 years ago, I think. It's a WIP because I love it. I'm never throwing this away. And I learned in the beginning that I didn't like to knit, but then it was just because it wasn't going on fast enough and I kept getting confused. And when I made mistakes, it was hard for me to fix. But look at me now. I embrace mistakes. Let me first show you guys this gigantic balaclava I made. I crocheted this. I followed the tutorial. I'm gonna see if I find the tutorial that I followed for this. If y'all want a tutorial book is this. I think this was my mistake. That's why it's so big. It's like a hood, guys. It's not even a balaclava. This is so big that I never wear this because it's too big. I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, this is 100% wool. I'm gonna unravel this because this wool is pretty good. I might be able to make a cool hat out of this instead of this hideous thing. Also, not me crocheting with black yarn, one of the first real finished objects I ever made. That's crazy. The pattern, I followed the YouTube tutorial. I will try to find it. The yarn I used is 100% wool. My boyfriend's mother gave me some yarn because I was like getting into knitting and fiber art. So she had a bunch of yarn to make slippers, and it was like a packet. They also gave the needles with it and everything. So I just left the needles because they were DPNs, and I haven't used DPNs yet. I might in the future because my fear of them is starting to go away. But I don't, so the DPNs, I put them away. I still have them, I just don't use them. And I used the yarn to make this gigantic balaclava that I never wear. So I'm gonna harvest yarn from this one so I can make something else. Probably still a hat, but like just not this one. Then, in my many tries of trying to get into fiber arts, I also bought a loom, a circular loom, and I use it to make, I think I have one scarf and one destroyed hat. I don't know what happened to the top of this one. I really don't. This is crazy, but definitely frogging this one. I can also not tell you what yarn I used. It's really thick yarn, that I know, but I don't know anything more. When I made this isn't even last year. I don't know when I made this. I have no clue. This is like a mysterious thing, and I'm frogging it because it looks insane. I don't know what I learned. I did used to wear this as a hat. Yeah, this is very mysterious to me. So just gonna put it back there. So the next project. This used to be a finished object, but then I realized I'm never wearing this because it's just not for me. And it's this crochet top. Well, I am still proud of it because it's free-handed and there's like a little peekaboo in the front. I don't know if you can see this. See, there's a little opening in the front that I free-handed. So I felt really like, wow, I can figure out how my body kind of looks, and like, yeah, that was cool because I was watching a lot of knitfluencers that would just freehand stuff, and I was like, wow, you really have to have a huge brain to do it. Turns out you don't. It's if you have like basic garment construction ideas in your head, you can freehand stuff. And even if you don't, you can have like super cool, like Loopy Studios kind of does this, like very free-handed, like super special and cool forms of creating textiles. And yeah, there are no rules. But I made this and I was really proud, but it's a little too short. So that's problem number one. The yarn I used is royal yarn from the Zemon, so that's problem number two. It's acrylic. So I sweat like an insane, like I sweat so much when I wear this. So yeah, I think I made this. This was a in-between project and I finished it so fast. I'm definitely frogging this. I'm not wearing this, so I'm frogging this. And I learned that I can trust myself more. I can totally freehand. I had enough knowledge to make this crochet piece Go out and do stuff. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Definitely. Then this is another central piece. I just wanted to learn how to make a square, a panel, because at that point, that was like, I think the beginning of 2024, I had only made a lot of circular projects because that's easy. So I was like, oh, now I'm going to figure out how to make a square. And I did. I kind of also wanted to make a sweater, but then I realized, no, just learn how to knit. And look at me now. I made a sweater. So I'm definitely unraveling this one to keep the yarn and make something else. My unravel pile is getting bigger and bigger. I might have to like have a day where I just unravel stuff. This is one of the first crochet projects I've made. I already unraveled a bunch of it because there are a bunch of mistakes I made while making it. I didn't push my hook into the same holes of the previous row of crochet every time, so it gives this a weird texture. It's way too big. It's way too long. At this point, I didn't know I liked cropped. I like to crop everything. I didn't know, so it gives me a weird body shape. I'm definitely gonna frog this, and the yarn I use is Royal yarn from the Zimum, so it's 100% acrylic, so that doesn't feel good on my skin either. I still have the ribbing that I used to finish it. I also need to unravel all of that, or I can wear it as a headband. Yeah, before I throw it away, maybe. Just got an idea. But this is definitely getting frogged. I learned I didn't like the length. I think the next, do I have a crochet vest? I don't think I have one. But I think at this point, I just learned that I needed to refine my technique. And the next one I made is, I think, the Houndstooth vest one. That's when I learned that I needed to crop it because it just looked crazy if I don't crop my vests. It looks crazy to me. But this is also getting frogged. I'm definitely not using that. Now, the next project that's also definitely getting frogged is this one. First of all, it's not even a straight line. I don't think I used a pattern. I just saw someone who had a granny stitched vest and I thought, oh, this looks so cool. Maybe not for me, but maybe for a friend. I started on it and then I was like, no, I don't want to make this. I know. So I stopped. I saw the picture and I tried to freehand it. And this was, I want to say March. I want to say around March 2024. But it's just going nowhere. It's not even done well. Like, this is fun, but just not for me. So I'm gonna unravel it so I can add this to my stash of yarn scraps that it's ever growing. But I'm definitely not finishing this. This is getting unraveled. I learned, what did I learn? That I still can't crochet a straight line because this is going to the right. Not really anything because I already knew how to make a crochet stitch. Maybe that's why I didn't like this project because I didn't learn anything while making it. I don't know. This is a sweater. I didn't make this. I wanted to harvest the yarn, but then I got tired because it's really hard to do that. So it's really pretty yarn. It's just really hard to get the yarn out of here. So I'm working on it still, but yeah. So I don't even know if I can count this as a WIP. It's just something I need to do. But it's definitely getting frogged. So I'm just gonna put this away. I also, this thing, I think it's handmade because it didn't have a tag. And the way it's finished on the inside, it looks very handmade. I want to say I'm working on unraveling that one. I'm not. I started it and I was like, oh, this is very slow. I don't want to do it anymore. This one, I made a lot of progress on the unravel side of things, but I wanted to make a matching short to the top. I've shown you guys before in the video, but it was just not giving what I wanted to give. So I started unraveling it. I ended here, I think. Like, I knitted a substantial amount, but then I was just thinking like, I'm not gonna wear it, and I'm trying to freehand it and it's not looking the way I want it to look. So I'll have to follow like a real deal tutorial to get it done the way I want it to, and so that it fits right the first time and I don't start making something that is like way too big or doesn't fit the way I want it to fit. So this is definitely clearly getting unraveled because yeah, we don't need this. So yeah, that was everything. It's just like a lot. But I hope this makes you feel like it's normal to have a bunch of WIPs that you're working on or that you stopped because you didn't like it. Or, yeah, just remember that that's fine. It's a learning process. You can feel a lot of things for different reasons, but you can almost always learn something from that. I like to acknowledge the things I've made in the past and tried, and then obviously acknowledge my success, but also acknowledge where I made some mistakes and figure out how I can make it better for me so that the mistakes kind of turn into lessons. Damn, that was kind of a bar. I didn't do that on purpose. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You can also follow me on Instagram at unravelknit, on Pinterest, also at unravel.knit. I will see you in the next video. Bye.